Vita, day 26, talking about things and stuff. Today we're supposed to say something to someone that we've always wanted to say, and we can, if we choose, reveal the person to whom we are speaking. However, having watched a few videos this evening, I think I would like to say something to everyone here that hopefully can leave an impression about what kind of community we are. If someone else outside the community were to watch this video and maybe just give a reminder to some who might be feeling a little lost, as there have been quite a bit of emotions today in the videos that I've watched, and in several of the other topics. So without further ado, so there's this book called Descent into Hell by a man named Charles Williams. Now, Charles Williams was part of the group with J.R.R. Tolkien and C.S. Lewis, the Inklings group. He was kind of an outsider. He was kind of a weird guy. His theology didn't really match up with the rest of the group so much. He wrote some plays and he wrote a few novels, of which Descent into Hell is my personal favorite. So, Descent into Hell follows the story of a group of actors who are going to put on a play by Percy Shelley called Prometheus Unbound. Now, in the novel it has a different name, but the novel very closely follows the ideas in Prometheus Unbound. However, Charles Williams also decided to include a number of his own philosophies in the novel, one of which is called the Doctrine of Substituted Love. Now, this gets a little bit out there, so try and bear with me, because I think we are living this philosophy out through Vita and through YouTube, and so we'll see if we can get through this, and hopefully you will have a better understanding of how we do things. So the main character, following along with some of the themes of Prometheus Unbound, encounters her doppelganger often as she's walking down the street. Now, this is terrifying for her, as it might be for you or I, who suddenly see someone exactly like us unavoidably walking towards us. So she is talking to the playwright, who is writing the version of Prometheus Unbound that they're going to be performing, and she explains that this makes her afraid. And here's what he has to say. "Why are you afraid?" he asked quickly, and she answered at once, "Because I'm afraid, dreadfully afraid." "But," he said, "that I don't quite understand. You have friends. Haven't you asked one of them to carry your fear for you?" "Carry my fear," she said, sitting rigidly in her chair so that her arms, which had lain so lightly, pressed now into the basket work, and her long, firm hands gripped it as if they were strangled her own heart. "How can anyone carry my fear? Can anyone else see it and have meet it?" And the playwright responds, "You're mixing up two things. Think a moment and you'll see. The meeting, that's one thing, and we can leave it until you're rid of the other. It's the fear we're talking about. Has no one relieved you of that? Haven't you ever asked them to?" Okay, so they go back and forth about this for a while, and he explains eventually what he means by asking someone to relieve them of the fear. He goes on to explain that it can be done. It's surprisingly simple, and if there's no one else you care to ask, why not use me? I'm here at your disposal, and we could so easily settle it that way. Then you needn't fear it, at least. And then again, for the meeting. That might be a very different business if you weren't distressed." "But how can I not be afraid?" she asked. "It's hellish nonsense to talk like that. I suppose that's rude, but—" "It's no more nonsense than your own story," he said. "That isn't very well. This isn't. We all know what fear and trouble are. Very well. When you leave here, you'll think of yourself that I've taken this particular trouble over, instead of you. You'd do as much for me if I needed it, or for anyone, and I will give myself to it. I'll think of what comes to you, and imagine it, and know it, and be afraid of it. And then you won't." This is what we do for Vita. We come on here and we express our joy, and we express our trouble, and we express our sorrow, and everyone else comes and they listen, and they want to listen, and they want to be there, and they tell us that it's going to be okay, and they give us advice, and they give us comforting words, and they take that sorrow, you take that fear, and that makes us all feel better. So for Charles Williams, you could physically and mentally and psychically, I guess, take fear and jealousy and doubt and anger from another person if you want to be there for them. And that's what we do. We're here for each other. Even though most of us have never actually met each other in real life, We're here, and we've given of ourselves to take fear and sorrow and doubt and shame from the rest of us. And it's really an amazing thing. And what is even crazier is it works. There's been so much catharsis. There have been so many people who have taken these horrible things that have happened to them and they've talked about them, and there has been at least some relief, not always, and there not always will be, but we do what we can, and we're here for each other, and that's really incredible. So that's all I have for you tonight. I'm sorry this video is so long. Take heart. We are here, we are listening, and we will take it from you if we can. We'll see you tomorrow.